What's going on, guys? Welcome back to my channel. Alright, so today, if you are struggling to build muscle, struggling to get stronger, today's video is definitely for you. So what I'm going to get into today is the key principles of training. If you don't have the key principles of training, then you can't form a solid foundation for a workout plan. These are going to include things like progressive overload, volume, frequency, and intensity, and where and how to place them in your plan to maximize your result. And also choosing the right exercises, because it matters more than you think. Let's get started. First up, I want to talk about progressive overload. To be fair, it's probably the one that you need to understand the most.
I'm listening.
What does progressive overload mean? Progressive overload simply means increasing the demand on the muscle over a period of time.
Say it again!
Increasing the demand, not the weight. Your body adapts to the amount of stress that your body puts on it, basically. So if you're lifting the same weight, doing it for the same amount of reps, doing it with the same tempo for week after week after week, then your body has no reason to grow, and it has definitely no reason to get stronger. The three main ways to apply progressive overload: 1, increasing the weight; 2, increasing the amount of sets or reps; 3, focusing on your form and tempo. Over the weeks, you want to aim for gradual progression, small improvements. We're looking at a bit more weight added, a couple extra reps, in looking at improving that form, looking at controlling the weight better than you did over the previous weeks. Those are all ways that you're going to progress in your journey. Consistent overload in these ways is what's going to help you with continued growth and avoiding any plateaus. Next up, let's talk about frequency, intensity, and volume. They are probably what I would say are your three biggest variables in training. Volume is the total amount of work. Think about sets, reps, weight. Frequency is about how often you train a muscle group each week, and intensity is about how heavy you are lifting in relative to your max. Now, here's the funny thing about those three things. If you push one of them too far, it can hurt your progress, and it can also hurt your recovery too. If you train with super high intensity all the time, heavy weights, pounding, you're gonna burn out. Too much volume without recovery, your progression could stall or you might get injured. And then too little frequency, you might not be stimulating your muscles enough. So for a lot of people, not everyone, a good starting point is trying to train every major muscle group a couple of times a week. Use moderate to high volume. You want to aim on each muscle group from about 12 to 20 sets per week. And you've got to mix that intensity. You've got to do some heavy work, some moderate work, lighter work with holds. There's different ways to stimulate the muscle. You can do holds, you can do slower tempos. So it's not always heavy. Mix the intensities and then you'll get the best of all of it. Really, what you want to do here is Find your balance. Track it, see how your body responds, and if it's not responding, don't be afraid to adjust. But then when I do say that, give yourself enough time to see if your body does actually respond. You cannot track off a week or a couple of sessions. So, last one I want to cover is compound versus isolation exercises. Both of them have their place, but knowing when and why to use each is very, very important. Compound exercises, they involve multiple joints and multiple muscle groups. You have to think about things like squat, deadlift, pull-ups, press-ups. These kind of movements build more overall strength, they burn more calories, and they are very efficient. But isolation exercises is more specific. You have to think about leg extensions, bicep curls, lateral raises. These are great for bringing up any weak points and are good for refining that muscle definition. In my opinion, if you are a beginner or someone that is short on time, you should definitely use compound exercises as your priority because you get more bang for your buck, and for beginners you build that foundation of strength. But definitely still do isolation exercises. They're good for adding volume to your workout. They're good for addressing any imbalances that you might have, and also great to do either before or after you do those main compound exercises. Which then brings me on to what I'm going to say anyway. Definitely combine the both. Use those compound exercises to get you strong, build that foundation, and use those isolation exercises to add the volume, help you with your symmetry and refining that muscle definition. Let's wrap it up. Use progressive overload to keep making those gains. Balance volume, intensity, and frequency so that you don't burn out. And then combine compound and isolation exercise for a good, well-rounded workout. Listen, if you apply these principles consistently over a good amount of time, just watch at the gains you make. Strength gains, muscle gains, all of that good stuff. All right, thanks for listening. If you found this helpful, please drop a like, subscribe, show some love to the channel, and you guys let me know what's your biggest challenge right now when it comes to the gym and you making gains. Is it strength plateaus, you're not building enough muscle altogether? Do you have weak points that you can't bring up? Let me know in the comments, and I will try and cover things over the next few episodes. Peace.